so whenever two countries trade goods, whether they receive or give, one of the discussions they have is what currency do they use? Country A or country B's currency. And the Articles of Agreement puts the dollar as a key currency. So basically that means that every other currency is based off on the dollar. And the reason why is because dollar is set at $35 an ounce for gold. And so that's called the gold standard. And so because the ratio of the dollar to gold is a certain ratio, and other currencies are backed by the dollar, then that means that other currencies also have their own ratio to gold. And so why do they choose gold? First of all, it's scarce, so it's not easy to find. Second of all, it's durable because it's metal. And third of all, it's portable. Before they had debit cards and credit cards, they didn't have any of that. They had coins. And what did they use to make them? Gold. But eventually it got too expensive to make gold coins, so they started using copper and bronze. And the earliest coins were in 600 BC in Turkey.
Okay.
And so the gold standard, how it works is there's either a fixed exchange rate where, like I said, the ratio of gold to a certain currency is fixed and it doesn't change over time. Or monetary autonomy, which basically you can print money whenever you want. Okay, so for the gold standard, like for example in England, it's 4 pounds per 1 ounce of gold. And back in the day when France had francs, it was 2 francs for 1 ounce of gold. And so that meant that 4 pounds would equal 2 francs. So the exchange rate was 2 to 1 from pounds to francs. It seems like a reasonable system, but the problem was that some certain countries could not keep their own currency. For example, France with the francs. The reason why they had to give it up in the 1940s and 1930s is because they didn't have monetary autonomy, which means they weren't able to print as much money as they wanted.
Okay.
Because they didn't have enough, and that would blow up their economy. So they eventually adopted the euro. But it's the same thing with the yen and
the dollar.
The dollar, the peso. France and Germany, they abandoned the gold standard in the 1930s. Here's the thing about monetary autonomy. Like I said, you can have monetary autonomy and fixed exchange rates if there's capital control. Like if the government can control how much capital there's going. But if there is no capital control, you can either have monetary autonomy or you can have a fixed exchange rate to the dollar. And so, because for example, France and Germany, they didn't have any capital control, they had to abandon the gold standard because they couldn't print money whenever they wanted, essentially. And so, they adopted the euro, and now the euro fluctuates over the market. Essentially what forex markets do is thousands of trades within the currencies make the market, make the value of, and so yeah, that's what the gold, that's how currencies work with trading and stuff. It's really interesting because it's different countries, each, some of them share currencies, but a lot of them have their own, and whenever you're trading, there's always either a winner and a loser. And a lot of the times, the currencies that are super inflated, they can't. I don't know. I feel like people can't buy anything. They make so little, they can't buy anything at all. And that's the other thing that happens with the currencies is it can happen inflation where the value is worth too much. And so people can't afford to get a dollar or get whatever currency, or deflation where it's not worth enough. And so you have too much stuff. Basic economic principle is finding general equilibrium of the markets. So I like talking about international relations, and I like money. So that's why I decided to do currency.
I
But
love
anyways,
money.
yeah. I just want to say I really enjoyed the class, and I appreciate you, Professor Shea. I learned a lot, and I made some really good friends in the class. So I appreciate everything you taught us, and I hope to see you in the future. So
This isn't my project, but I wanted to reiterate the same thing. I really enjoyed the class, and I really enjoyed your teaching, and I really did learn a lot than
yeah.
my other political science classes. I appreciate everything you did for us in the class.
Well, thank you, Professor. Have a good rest of your day.